Hello and welcome to the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. I'm Ariel Helwani here in beautiful New York City. What a great honor and privilege it is to be here today. And I can't think of a better venue in the entire world than one like this to make an announcement like this. Dare I say, a groundbreaking announcement. But I'm not going to be making that announcement. No, I have to bring up the CEO and co-founder of Most Valuable Promotions, the one and only Nakisa Bidarian, to make this very special announcement. Nakisa.
Thank you, Ariel. Thank you to the media who's here today in person and to everybody watching at home. And a big thank you to Madison Square Garden for hosting us and their unwavering support for women's sports. I've always believed that anything is possible. And today is made possible by Ronda Rousey, who proved that a female fighter can be as impactful as her male counterparts. Equally, today is made possible by Amanda Serrano, who took a risk to be the first athlete to sign to MVP and then proceeded to use the platform provided to her to show the world how exciting women's boxing is. And of course, today is not possible without the amazing women and men that work at MVP and their collective conviction in women's sports, in women's boxing, and its amazing athletes. When Jake and I started MVP 4 years ago, we had a vision to create a brand that represented the best in the sport of boxing every single time that we put on an event. World championship fight after world championship fight. And now, we are finally in a position to do that. And I am thrilled to announce the launch of MVPW, the global home of women's boxing. Women's boxing was, and in many instances still is, an afterthought for legacy promoters and new boxing promoters alike. But where they see challenges, we see opportunity. And today, opportunity takes center stage with a massive step forward as we bring women's boxing to the worldwide leader in sports in a multi-year agreement. The best fighters in the world, one brand, led by incredible women who have amazing stories, who've dedicated their life to boxing. Welcome to MVPW, live on ESPN.
They're always telling women what we can or cannot do.
They say you can't be a beauty and a beast.
They say I'm too much of a diva to put up a fight.
They say I can't be fierce.
They think I'm sweet. They're gonna find out.
They say I'm too busy to be a world champion.
The best boxers on the planet. Championship fights, non-stop action. Every single fight. Representing 14 countries. 14 reigning world champions, all ready to defend their titles. And prove who is truly the most elite boxer on earth. MVPW on ESPN, the greatest female fighters the world has ever seen.
Let's go! That is right. Boxing is back on ESPN, and it was MVPW that brought boxing back to the worldwide leader in sports. MVP has entered a landmark multi-year agreement with ESPN, establishing ESPN as the U.S. home of MVPW, with events through 2028. The partnership will deliver a mix of linear and streaming distribution, with the majority of events airing on ESPN's flagship channels. Let me give you some of the particulars. MVPW 1 debuts Sunday, April 5th in beautiful London, England, featuring Caroline Dubois versus Terry Harper and Ellie Scottney versus Mayeli Flores, streaming live in the United States on ESPN Digital as the first event under the new agreement. Then, MVPW 2 will be the inaugural U.S. event taking place Friday, April 17th, live on ESPN Linear from right here at Madison Square Garden at the Infosys Theater. The event will be headlined by the 10 3-minute round unified world title defense from the one and only Alycia Baumgardner versus Bomi Shin, with a unified world title defense from Shadasia Green versus Lonnie Daniels in the co-main event. Tickets for MVPW 2 are on sale right now at Ticketmaster.com. And then I can also tell you MVPW 3 is already set for Saturday, May 30th, featuring Stephanie Han versus Holm 2 for the WBA lightweight world title in El Paso, Texas, live on ESPN. And so now, no more talking, let's talk to some of the actual participants. Some of the faces of MVPW are here with us today. Let us bring them out. First to the stage, one of MVP's newest signees, the WBA #1 super flyweight contender at 115 pounds. Please say hello, from Allentown, Pennsylvania, the undefeated LeAnna Cruz. Next, MVP's undefeated champion. Please welcome the reigning, defending WBC featherweight world champion from Lehigh Acres, Florida, the undefeated Tiara Brown. Next, she is the reigning, defending IBF super welterweight world champion at 154 pounds. Fighting out of Atlanta, Georgia, the undefeated Oshae Jones. Now we welcome the #2 WBO contender and the #1 WBA, IBF, and WBC contender, the pride of Shawinigan, Quebec, Canada, the undefeated Tamm Thibeault. Next up, one half of the aforementioned MVPW 3 headliner. She is the most decorated two-sport athlete in combat sports history, the first person to win championships in both boxing and MMA, and currently rated as BoxRec's #2 greatest pound-for-pound fighter of all time. From Albuquerque, New Mexico, the preacher's daughter, Holm. Her opponent is the other half of the MVPW 3 headliner, taking place Saturday, May 30th in El Paso, Texas for the WBA lightweight world title. Please welcome the defending champion, a proud Korean American, mother of 2, 8-year veteran of the El Paso Police Department, the reigning, defending WBA lightweight world champion, hailing from El Paso, the one and only, the undefeated Stephanie Han. Next up, fighting in the co-main event of MVPW 2, right here at the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, on Friday, April 17th. It's a 10-round unified women's championship bout contested at 168 pounds, making her defense of her titles the reigning, defending IBF, WBO, and Ring Unified Super Middleweight Champion of the world, hailing from Paterson, New Jersey, Shadasia Green. Next up, headlining that same event, MVPW 2, right here in New York City on Friday, April 17th. It's a 10-round unified world championship bout contested under equal rules. That's 3-minute rounds. She is one of boxing's most electrifying stars, the unified super featherweight champion of the world, fighting out of Dallas, Texas by way of Fremont, Ohio, Alycia the Baumgardner. And last but not least, we had to end with her. You probably guessed who we had to end with. She is MVP's 7-division world champion, Puerto Rico's first ever undisputed champion, and one of the most decorated female fighters in the history of boxing. With over 50 professional fights, she remains one of the most feared and respected athletes in the history of the sport. She's the boxing trailblazer, champion of equality, and is MVP's first ever signee, the reigning unified featherweight world champion, hailing from Brooklyn, New York, and Carolina, Puerto Rico. She is the real deal, Amanda Serrano. All right. I'll ask some questions. Media in attendance, I want you to ask questions as well, so get them ready, but I'll kick things off right here and now. What an honor it is to be up here at the greatest arena in the world, in the greatest city of the world, with some of the greatest fighters, regardless of gender, in the world. Look at this. Look at all this gold up here. It's unbelievable. It's actually taking my breath away, and I want to start with you, Amanda. MVP's first signee. When you signed, when you gave your career up to these guys, when you believed in them, Nakisa and Jake, could you have ever imagined this? MVPW, ESPN, this type of talent joining you along the way?
No, not in a million years. You know, I took a chance. Well, they took a chance with me, and I was always told, Jordan always told me, if you're given the opportunity, show up, show out. And I'm glad I did that. I made them proud. And look, I brought a whole gang of amazing women with me, and we're going to continue to show the world that we have talent, we're marketable, we can fight. And thanks to ESPN, the world gets to see us all.
And obviously, I mentioned some fights and some dates. You're up here. We assume you'll be fighting soon. Can you break any news for us? Is there anything you could tell us about when we'll see you again?
Listen, there's one card in particular I'm looking at, but I'm still speaking with the team, Nakisa and Jordan, so, but they know I need to fight. I never fought on ESPN. I fought on the best platforms. I remember sitting, watching Tuesday night fights, Friday night fights on ESPN, and now to be a part of it, I need to fight on ESPN soon.
Yes, that is the place to be, of course. Everyone wants to fight on ESPN. Alycia, you will be fighting on ESPN on Friday, April 17th, defending those titles. 2 shows with MVP. They were on a massive platform, obviously Netflix. Now here you are on ESPN. How great is this going for you so far? And could you tell us what you think about this title defense coming up in about a month and a half or so?
Yes, this event is going to be super exciting. You know, Nakisa, Jake Paul, MVP have been game changers in women's sports. And now we have ESPN coming along for MVPW. So to be a part of that, to be a game changer, to be someone who is setting a standard, I'm looking forward to this opportunity, setting the stage, and always bringing the fight.
Love it. And of course, that will be on Friday, April 17th. I want to ask Holm a question. We saw you back in January. Big fight for you, obviously, and it ended somewhat unceremoniously, somewhat inconclusively. That's why we're seeing it again. What did you learn from that first meeting against Stephanie that you're going to try to apply when you guys meet on May 30th?
Well, I think any fight you have is a learning experience. And so we've already addressed a lot of things, putting it to work in the gym. I'm excited for the rematch. I think a lot of people are, being how the fight kind of ended. So I'm just excited to put work in and show up and be the best that I can do.
I'd like to ask your opponent, Stephanie, are you excited for the rematch as well? Obviously, she wants to get those belts. You're still the champion. It ended, like I said, unceremoniously. How did you feel about the ending? And do you like the fact that you're getting a chance to run it back with her right away?
I'm so excited for this rematch. Yes, the fight ended in controversy. She said she could have caught up at the end, and I want to have this next fight, no excuses. And most importantly, I'm having this rematch in my city of El Paso. My city embraces me as their champion, and I'm so excited to bring this fight home.
Can I ask you further on that, to get this opportunity to not only fight on ESPN, but in your hometown where you're such a big deal and beloved, and obviously we talked about your involvement with the police department. Would it be fair to say greatest honor of your career so far?
Thank you, Nakisa. Thank you, Jake Paul. Thank you, MVP. To have this fight in my city of El Paso, it's a dream come true. And I'm so excited because I know Texas, New Mexico, and Mexico is going to come out to support this fight.
Yes, and of course, Holly, very popular in New Mexico as well. Nakisa, I'd be remiss if I don't ask you a question or two. Can you tell us further why MVPW and why this deal with ESPN is so big for you and Jake and the whole team?
Sure. I was raised by a single mom, so seeing her struggles and path to making it was always something that was very eye-opening for me. As we all know, half the world are women, 50% of the world population, so there's a massive demographic available. You then look at the amazing athletes that are women throughout the world. And then I was fortunate enough to be there when we introduced women's MMA to UFC, and to see the impact that Ronda Rousey had was beyond eye-opening. And when we set up MVP and we said to our network partner, we want to put women's boxing on as the co-main event, everyone paused, took a step back, and didn't seem to understand why. And honestly, a lot of it was that conviction of what I saw with Ronda Rousey and the belief that we could find an Amanda Serrano that could show the world what this sport is all about. And now, to be here 4 years later with the best sports platform in the U.S. on linear television for all these incredible athletes is the most important day of my career.
As you know, you follow the boxing game quite closely. ESPN has been in boxing for quite some time, a rich history of boxing on ESPN, but it was these ladies and your brand that brought boxing back to ESPN. We haven't seen boxing on ESPN since July of last year. How big of a deal is that?
I think it's a testament to these athletes, of course, our team at MVP, but also the rise of women's sports, right? I look at my son, he's 9.5 years old. He's a fan of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. I see young men wearing women's basketball shoes on the court on a consistent basis. And that's a trend that's evolving to where people can be a fan truly from, their earliest years in women's boxing. So our job is to give them the platform, help them express their brand, and then it's up to them who becomes the next Amanda Serrano when Amanda Serrano decides to join MVP in the executive ranks.
Quick question for Patterson's Shadasia Green. I see all that gold next to you there. We remember how great it was in this very building when you won the belts and did so great in that fight back in July. And could I ask, how has life changed since getting that big victory? I know it was a very emotional fight for you, and I would imagine life has changed in a very good way. What's it been like?
Absolutely. It was very emotional. I achieved something so amazing that night, July 11th. Wow, being on one of the biggest women's boxing card ever. So my life has changed, of course. I'm still sleeping on cotton. I moved, but
we're gonna change.
No, silk sheets, they make you sweaty.
Yes.
So, and like Nakisa said, they make you lazy. And I'm looking forward to putting on a beautiful performance and to showcase some skills you guys haven't seen. And I think me beating Savannah Marshall, who is a great fighter, a world champion in the aspect of her past, is only gonna up my game from here.
Love it. All right, I wanna ask some media for some questions. We'll weave through everyone as well, but the floor is yours. Just please tell us your name and where you're from.
Hi, my name is Melissa Smith. I'm with girlboxing.org. We're a platform that has been around reporting on women's boxing since 2010. My question, well, first I want to make the comment that I was here 4 years ago and was aware of the snickers in this room when the main event was announced between Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. Well, who's laughing now? You are here with an extraordinary 4-year record of achievement that is unsurpassed in women's boxing. What I'm here to ask, though, is that in this time of real transition in the sport, where there are new players who refuse to even sign women and seem proud of that, what can we do, or what can you as an organization do to help keep that feeder of women into the larger opportunities? Because the pressure on small promoters is huge. Some are unfortunately having to fall away because they cannot sign people, they cannot find opportunities. What I want to ask is this an opportunity for MVP to partner with some smaller players regionally, both in the United States and overseas, to help professional women get the opportunities on their first few fights before they can start to aspire to a place in MVP's roster?
Well, one, thank you for the kind words, very much appreciated. And two, what you said is exactly what we saw, is that there's a general belief within boxing that women's boxing doesn't work. And as I said, Ronda Rousey showed you that it does work. Amanda Serrano has showed you that it does work. Alycia, Baumgardner, Shadasia Green, Tiara Brown, Tamm Thibeault, the list goes on of the fighters on this platform. And Holm, by the way, showed us that it does work when she did that massive event in Australia against Ronda Rousey, right? So we are investing a lot of time, a lot of resources and capital. It's not like there's endless riches in boxing for an independent promoter like ourselves, but we have a belief that over time, we will then get to a point where the returns are there on investment the right way, and there's more Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor type opportunities. We would love to work with smaller promoters and provide an ecosystem for their fighters to rise up through the ranks, as long as it comes from a place of logic, right? We have this amazing press conference today. I think many will look at it and say the riches are here in boxing. This isn't about the riches in boxing. This is about giving these athletes a platform equal to their male counterparts, and then they have to run with it. They have to show the world why they need to pay attention.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Another media question.
Good morning. My name is Jose Rivera from Chosen One Productions and Vocero Latino. First of all, I want to congratulate all these wonderful women on their achievements. Nakisa, is there any plans in the future for MVPM for the males on one network? And if so, when can we get Amanda Serrano main event in Puerto Rico with these wonderful women on the card on ESPN?
I would say our focus is on building MVPW globally, right? We have a partnership with Sky for our first event there, which is the best sports platform in the United Kingdom. We have our partnership with ESPN, which is going to be unbelievable over the next 3 years. And we've become great regular partners to Netflix. So the base is there for us to do incredible things. On the men's side, as you're seeing play out, there's just so many existing players that are fighting and tripping over themselves to one-up each other that it's hard for me to see the clear path to return on investment unless you have endless amounts of capital and are doing things for different reasons. We've been very successful on the men's side. The biggest event of the last 50 years is our event, which was Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. And we're going to continue to be selective about how we approach the men's side to make sure it works for us and our network partners. But we have plans to introduce something that's male-specific, but different than what the existing players are doing.
Thank you, and congratulations on your launch.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll ask one question to my fellow Canadian, Tamm Thibeault. Great to see you again, Tamm. Man, this is all happening very fast. Great to see you back at MSG as well. #1 ranked in 3 sanctioning bodies, #2 in the other. You're on ESPN now, MVPW. You didn't think all of this would happen so fast when you turned pro, right?
I'll be honest with you, I wish it happened faster.
Okay.
I mean, I've been an elite athlete. I'm new in the professional game, yeah, but I've been an elite athlete for a long time. Most people don't know, but I've been boxing 20 years this year now. So I'm really excited, really honored, and eager to show the world what I'm about. Like, I love what I do. I love boxing. I love going to the gym, working on new things, and coming here and showing people what I can do, what women can do. Like, I don't want to be known as another woman athlete. I want to be known as just another athlete like anybody else. And I'm so excited and so eager.
I didn't mention a date attached to your name. Could you tell us when we might see you again?
You will see me soon. We're still working out the kinks, but you guys stay tuned.
Okay. I'd like to ask a question to Tiara Brown. Great to see you up here, and you're one of the newer members of the team. Why did you decide to sign with MVPW?
First of all, thank you for having me. Thank you, Nakisa. God is good, and I'm just blessed to be here because MVP is the best on the planet, and I'm glad to be here, a part of it.
Welcome. When might we see you? Do you know as well? I'm just going to be like the probing guy who's asking all the fighters
Hey,
who don't
have
know.
you gotten you a fight yet? When is your fight?
Yeah, when is your fight?
Ariel.
Tell us. Breaking some new news right now. What do you got?
Well, I'm waiting on a fight date, but just know I'm ready whenever.
All right. Let's go back to the media.
David Potter with Fight World Live. This question's for the great Holly Holm. Holly, you're a champion in MMA, a champion in boxing, and a legend in all combat sports. What left do you have to prove to yourself? Like, how do you wake up inspired and motivated to compete when you have nothing to prove to anybody? You belong to the history books of both combat sports. What left do you have to prove to yourself?
Well, thank you so much for the kind words. I got into this sport into fighting in general. You know, I know a lot of people knew I boxed before MMA, but I was always part of a kickboxing gym and always around martial arts. And I came into it wanting to do it. It wasn't really to prove anything to anybody. It was just something I wanted to do for myself. And that's how it started. It was just a passion I was following. And I didn't really think that it would turn into a pro fight, into championship fights, and then into a whole nother career. A lot of people told me going into MMA, I was already 30 years old at the time, that I should have retired then. And if I would have listened to everybody, I would have missed my entire MMA career. So yes, I am getting closer to, having my final fights and things like that, but I still feel it in myself and I still feel the passion, and that's why I still fight. Yes, I love the support and I love being part of things like this with all these women here, but I really truly feel at the end of the day that each fighter has to have the passion in them, as I know all these ladies do, to get in there. So it's not necessarily something that I have to prove for anybody, it's just a passion I'm still following.
And one last question for Nakisa. The talent pool is so deep with this division, with this new league. What is your dream fight to make, and why is it Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holm 2?
Well, the first part, I think you're talking about boxing. The second part is MMA driven. In terms of boxing, I'd love to make Shadasia Green versus Clarissa Shields, right? That's an obvious fight that we want to focus on. And then it really comes down to these fighters. I always say it doesn't matter if they're all a part of MVPW. It's about what they want to do. They're leaders for their career. They're the athletes who go in the ring and take the risk. In terms of your second question, I would say Holly is focused on making history and becoming a boxing champion again after making history in MMA. And then let's see what happens May 16th. Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano, massive, massive moment for women's sports. And May 30th, I'm so excited to be in El Paso, Texas with Stephanie Hahn, who is a police officer, a mother, a beauty pageant contestant, and a boxing champion. And again, credit to Holly Holm for as soon as we said, are you willing to go to El Paso? She said, absolutely, sign me up, I'm there.
I want to ask a follow-up to Shadasia there, because I saw you nodding your head when he mentioned Clarissa. Obviously, you guys have gone back. I open Twitter. Every time I open Twitter, it's you and Clarissa going back and forth. So do you echo his sentiment?
Absolutely. But not to be mistaken for looking past April 17th. That's my main focus, and my goal is to put on a great performance and show you guys some wrinkles that you haven't seen. But I think that's a mega fight, with MVPW and Nakisa at the head of making that happen. I think that's a great fight between me and Clarissa Shields. And
Ariel, I think, that's an important point that she just made, right? She wanted to fight Lonnie Daniels, and people will say, well, Clarissa beat Lonnie Daniels. But I think Shadasia's plan is to show you why there's levels to her skill versus Clarissa Shields' skill by taking on the same opponent.
Noted. Did want to ask a question to Oshae Jones. Welcome as well. Great to have you here. First, if you could tell us why MVPW, why you feel so strongly about this, and while we're talking about potential fights down the line, Chantel Cameron is fighting on April 5th at 154 pounds. That feels like a big fight down the line as well. Do you have your sights set on a potential matchup against her to unify the belts?
Yes, definitely. I feel like she's been active, and I feel like I'll take a warm-up fight, and then I'll definitely take that fight. She's a great fighter. We can go
belt for belt. She came up to 154, and she got to be ready to pay them consequences.
And could you tell us why MVPW?
I chose MVPW because I feel like MVPW is the best platform for women's boxing. Like, they changed women's boxing so much. We've been evolving, and I'm a champion. This where the best at. I might as well join them.
And I'll ask a similar question to LeAnna as well. Welcome to MVPW. Why MVPW, and also 115 pounds, very interesting. Who do you have your sights set on? I'm sure you want some of these belts as well for your own particular weight class.
Thanks for having me here. I'd say I chose MVPW because they do have the best platform for women's boxing, and they open up a lot of opportunities and doors for women, and they give women the platform that they deserve. I mean, I'm so humbled to just be amongst these 10 great women here. So just to be in their presence and being signed to the same promotion, I'm super grateful and honored to be just a part of it. I'd say I'm the mandatory at 115 pounds in the WBA, and I'm wearing a fur coat. That's to signify if these girls call themselves the animal, I will have a mink soon.
Okay.
Wow.
I like that.
Wow.
I like that. Is there
Ariel, can I add one thing?
Sure. Could I just ask her a follow-up? A name in particular that you'd like to mention who's on the radar?
So, I mean, anyone that didn't know, I tore my ACL my last fight, and I fought 9 rounds with a torn ACL, so I'm still recovering. I'm hoping next week to be cleared so that I can show everyone I'm going to have the craziest comeback story as an athlete.
I'm not doubting you, by the way. Can't wait to see that. Nakisa.
I just wanted to make sure we bring attention to MVPW. And if you look at our logo, there's a reason that the W sits within MVP. The golden arches you see there represent the W, but it's part and parcel of the same brand. There is no differentiation between the men or the women. These athletes are the fabric of our organization, no different than Jake Paul or Juana Walton or Jamal Harvey or Avius Griffin or any other male that's a part of this platform. So while we want to say MVPW, they're all part of MVP at the end of the day.
Fair enough. Thank you. And I can't stop, I got to be honest, I can't stop staring at that. Like those 3 letters, ESPN next to those 3 letters, and that arena, and like all of this is making me very emotional. I'm not going to lie. This all means a hell of a lot if you're a combat sports fan. Back to the media we go.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Lima, and I am reporting from the main event. My question is for Amanda Serrano, but before I get into that question, I want to say nothing but congratulations to all of you hardworking women that's on this stage right now. This sport is really hard to get into. You got to drop a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this sport, and I can just say nothing but congratulations. And Nakisa, congratulations on signing the deal with ESPN. So Amanda, my question for you is, you started all the way from the bottom, blood, sweat, and tears, raising your way all the way to the top, and now you're on this big stage in front of all these hardworking women, all of these people here. The one question I have for you is, what is your dream fight? Like, who is somebody that has to get into the ring with you that hasn't yet?
I think I already had my dream fight, fighting 3 times with Katie Taylor. That was the cream of the crop. It was amazing, but we have so many talented and great champions in this sport. But right now, I have the goal to break that knockout record that Christy Martin had for 20 years, and that's the goal now. But I would love to fight anybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. My guy, Curran, what do you got?
Curran Bhatia, congratulations to everyone up here on the amazing deal. Nakisa, quick question for you. In terms of MVP and ESPN, it seems like there was similar goals from the beginning. MVP has been boosting women's sports and creating this platform. ESPN now leaning into Women's Sports Sundays and leaning into this initiative, something that's that we've all wanted for such a long time. Curious how it came together with ESPN. It seems like you were on parallel paths there for the same goal. So when it came to putting pen to paper, was it something you brought to them, something they wanted from you? How did it all come together?
Yeah, we started talking to ESPN in early 2025 around the idea to one day be a part of ESPN. And once it was decided that they were moving on from Top Rank, we met with them and started to focus on what the future could look like. And we definitely presented a focus on women's boxing, because we think that's the untapped opportunity to actually drive real new fan engagement in the sport, right? Boxing has been around for many years. It's a global sport, but it's been male dominated. And every time these amazing athletes fight, you definitely get a percentage of the boxing audience. But there's also a passionate female fan base for women's sports. And we believe with the power of these athletes, our storytelling, and ESPN's coverage and distribution, we can bring new fans to boxing.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, how's it going today? My name is Nisi Josie from My New York Magazine, also in representation of World Star Hip Hop. Born and raised here as a New Yorker, coming up 20 years in my career, build the first ever ecosystem. That word stuck out to me as you guys came on the stage, as the founder mentioned that word, and as Holly mentioned a standard. My question is a twofold question. With the ecosystem, you know, for MVPW, but it's also blended into MVP, one whole system, what is one word or representation you want us to take away from that? And then the second is, what is one key standard that you are looking for amongst these representatives in MVPW?
Fighter first, fighter first, fighter first. That's our ethos. That's what we were started on. When I met a 22-year-old Jake Paul, didn't know who he was, got introduced to him. He said, hey, I want to start a fighters union so UFC fighters can make their appropriate share. And that's the mindset that he had at 22, and that's the mindset we've ever had. We do our best based on what the opportunity is to give the vast majority of revenues back to the fighters. And in terms of what is the one thing we want from our athletes, is to put it all in the line, right? That's why Amanda Serrano is Amanda Serrano, because I knew when we signed her, she comes to fight. And boxing is an art, but it's also a fight. And you have to give fans both to really grow your audience.
And Holly, what is one word you would say for those that are aspiring to be in your position?
I don't know if I have one word, but just to be truly yourself and follow your passion. And as long as that passion's first, everything else will fall into place.
Amazing. Thank you for your time.
I want to ask Nakisa a follow-up. A lot of talk these days in the sport about belts and sanctioning bodies and whatnot, so I'm taken by all the belts here from different sanctioning bodies. Your take on all of that, on working with the sanctioning bodies, and are you interested down the line in a MVPW belt?
I think we're interested in having as many world champions as possible being a part of the MVPW brand. So ultimately, it's not really about the sanctioning bodies, it's about our athletes. We respect the sanctioning bodies and their processes, but they need to evolve as well to allow for consistent matchmaking that is logical in terms of growing brand and fan base. Too often you see this mandatory from said country that has no recognition in the most important media markets. And it's up to us and the sanctioning bodies to work together to say, how do we improve this to ensure that the product gives these fans the best possible matchups, right? That's the whole pitch that Zuffa Boxing is making. Hey, we want to give fans truly the #1 and #2 player. Okay, well, the sanctioning bodies want to do the same thing as well. So if we engage with them in a productive fashion, I think we'll get to that result over time.
And wanted to ask Alycia another question. Another 3-minute round fight for you. What have you learned from going through this a couple times now, and why do you continue to want to do this?
Well, first, when given the opportunity to fight 3 minutes, I said absolutely. This is a challenge that I love to accept. And so moving forward, when we talk about equality, we talk about the standard on what we're setting, 3 minutes is no issue. And I look forward to it. When you see a type of style like myself, very poised, who knows how to box, who knows how to punch, who uses a jab to set things up, you appreciate that extra minute. And so come April 17th, you'll see again why 3 minutes is the standard and why champions like myself can separate those from others.
Back to the media.
AB Boxing News, Marcos Paz. First and foremost, I want to thank all the champions that have paid their dues. They're up here on stage. It's evident that you guys have done your due diligence. You guys have paid the price to be where you're at. And my first question, I should better say, is to Mr. Nakisa Bidarian. So Nakisa, as you mentioned earlier, boxing is a predominantly male-driven sport in terms of males leading the way, right? What makes the difference between MVPW and its other competitors in terms of opportunities that it grants women?
I think what makes MVP and MVPW different in general is that we're truly about being fighter first. Our events reflect that. Our production reflects that. Everything we do is about investing in the brand to give the platform from the athletes to have the most exposure possible, right? And we don't spend a lot of time thinking about comparing ourselves to others. We think about how do we disrupt, evolve, and show that this is something you've never seen before, right? We're 4 years into this game, and we've had the privilege of being partners with the biggest media companies in the world, but it's not us, it's Jake Paul. He provided a lot of those opportunities, right? He brought boxing to Netflix, and it was Jake who used this platform to bring on Amanda, and then Amanda ran with that opportunity and said, see you later, Jake, MVP, here I am the show, right? So, end of the day, it's being fighter first, investing in the brand, and letting the athletes shine.
And my second question is to Stephanie Hahn. Aside from doing media, I'm a fighter as well. And my question to you is, what has MVP done in terms of a switch around in your career, and how much has it boosted your career since signing with them?
Like I said earlier, signing with MVP is truly a dream come true. I feel like any female boxer wants to be on this team. And since signing with them, I was offered the biggest fight of my life, fighting Holm, who doesn't want to fight a legend. And now it's even better because I get to rematch her in my city of El Paso.
Thank you.
Quick follow-up, if I can, to Stephanie. I'm not trying to start anything, just curious, intentional or unintentional?
It was definitely unintentional.
Okay. I'm glad we cleared that up. I'm sure Holly agrees. Also did want to ask Tiara a question. Everyone's very friendly up here. It's a nice kumbaya session, if you will, although there is a legend who's pretty close to your weight, right, a few seats down from you, Amanda Serrano. Do you have your sights set on her down the line?
I grew up watching Amanda. When I was an amateur fighter, I'm pretty sure I was her biggest fan, and I still am. I'm pretty sure I am. Like Stephanie said, it would be great to fight a legend, I'm here to make my mark, and I'm here to get the belts.
Okay, appreciate that. A couple more media questions, and then we'll wrap this up. You're up next, sir.
Great day, ladies. Congratulations on all your accomplishments. I'm honored to be here myself. Miss Alycia, great to see you. Congratulations on your latest win. You mentioned in your online lives that you had a surprise coming up. Can you give us a hint of what that's about? Is it a new venture? Is it a new fight? Or maybe a new business, like for smoothies?
Smoothies, I love that. Well, first off, thank you. And yes, the surprise is April 17th, main event here in New York City. I'm fighting Bo.
On ESPN.
Listen, that was coming. Yes, on ESPN, fighting Bo. This fight is such an honor for my Korean heritage. So you get to see just two different sides, two warriors. And given the platform on ESPN, you get to see that. So that is the surprise I've been holding in. And baby, when I tell you I'm coming, I'm coming. And New York City is the best place to do it at.
Thank you. Again, I didn't announce myself. I'm Mr. T.Y. with Fight Hub in Blink, New York. Holly, I had a quick question. Thank you. I think your fight with Rousey was one of the most historic female fights ever. It's one of my best flashbacks. At the age of 44, besides looking great for your age, what convinced you or what motivates you to keep fighting as opposed to retiring and just enjoying the rest of your life?
I still feel good, I still feel strong, and I still feel healthy. And I'm passionate about this sport. And yes, I do know that I am closer to wanting to hang up my gloves but I just wanted to get a couple more fights in because I know I'm capable, healthy, and well for it. I do think that it takes a lot of self-ambition and motivation to still stay motivated over the years. No fight is the same. You're gonna have highs and the most anticipated fights in other people's eyes, but every fight is the biggest fight of my life when it's the fight in front of me. So that's what I have to look for, and I just think, well, this is the fight, this is the victory I want now, and that just keeps me motivated. I'm very proud of all my accomplishments. I'm very, very proud of them, but I also know that the next fight is what the work needs to be done for, and that's what it keeps me motivated because I just want more wins.
Congratulations to you. Ms. Shadasia Green, nice to meet you. My daughter's name is Shadasia.
Nice.
You've been talking about fights with Clarissa Shields. What is a realistic timeline, and are you willing to move up in weight for that fight?
I said recently that I would be willing to move up to heavyweight to challenge her for her undisputed title. However, after watching her broadcast, she stated that she wanted to come down to super middle, which I have no problem with that neither. I'm willing to do anything to get the best fights. But I don't know how realistic it is because just recently I heard Shields say she wanted to fight Michaela Mayer. So, I mean, if she has to want it, I want it, but reality is we both have to come to terms and be willing to fight each other. I'm here, I'm not going nowhere, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Okay. Up next, sir.
How you doing, guys? Dakota from ITR Boxing. First of all, congratulations to all the champions on the stage. As a New York, New Jersey native, we take a lot of pride in our champions, and I'm looking at two right here. The great Amanda Serrano, one of the most celebrated fighters in the sport, and of course, the great Shadasia Green, my friend from Paterson, New Jersey. My question is for Nakisa. Whether it's Clarissa or not, at what moment do we get to see the great Shadasia Green as a main event fighter?
I think after this fight, that's her time to be a main event fighter. Look, being a main event fighter takes a lot, right? The whole show is on your shoulders. You want to have a great supporting cast, but you know, ask Amanda. She's done it a few times, and she's like, I'm good being co-main event on the next one, just, you know, because I don't want to be doing all these interviews and, you know, missing training time to push the fight, push ticket sales, push viewership. So it's really up to Shadasia, right, to one, say, yes, I want to do that, and then two, demonstrate that she wants to do that, because it's a business at the end of the day, right? You put butts in seats, you get eyeballs, you get opportunities. And she got a lot of eyeballs last July, and she put on a masterful performance when many doubted her, right? When many were thinking, Savannah's got this. And then she had an amazing speech at the end and started to really let herself show. And now she's back for another fight. So it's up to her to prove that path.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you guys.
And last but not least.
Yes, Dr. Adal with World Liberty TV Boxing Channel. Congratulations to all of the fighters. I just want to, with Amanda, I followed your career many years. We attended many boxing events where you've been honored. And, you know, we're working with all these different promoters. I mean, it was just, it just wasn't happening to a level where it should have. And when you guys took over, you made it into the iconic person she richly deserved to be. And I'm glad that she's doing all these wonderful things. She has a huge nest egg to fall back on, because 7-time world champion, and this is what she has to show. Now, I just want to get back to you, Nakisa. The ESPN, congratulations on this, and I know Jake started the Netflix endeavors and everybody else is following. You guys are really original pioneers in these platforms. My question is, with the ESPN, are these going to be fights which are going to be with the subscription, or are you going to be shooting off to a pay-per-view model?
So our partnership is driven on being on the ESPN platform across the board, on linear and digital. And of course, there's the optionality to do pay-per-view events at the right time. We don't see a pay-per-view event in the pipeline at this moment in time, but they're the greatest ecosystem for sports. So if we were going to do a pay-per-view, of course we do it with ESPN.
I think everybody here can headline a pay-per-view event.
Let's go.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to you and the rest of the media. Take it from someone who once worked for this incredible network. Your life changes when you're associated with those 4 letters, and I'm so excited for all the women here getting an opportunity to fight for the worldwide leader in sports. No greater platform, and it's so great to see them back in boxing and in this kind of way. And so to recap, April 5th, live from London, England, that's the very first MVPW show that will air on ESPN Digital. MVPW 2, Friday, April 17th, from right here, New York City, the Infosys Theater at Madison Square Garden, a venue that has hosted some of the biggest fights in recent memory. That will be on ESPN Linear, and then we're back on ESPN Linear on May 30th, El Paso, Texas. Holm 2, cannot wait for that. Cannot wait for all of these fights. And oh, by the way, tickets on sale right now for that April 17th show. So if you're in the area, come check it out. You will not regret it. Thank you so very much to all the media in attendance. Thank you to everyone watching at home. Thank you to these great fighters. Please show them some love. Thank you so very much for watching, and we will see you on April 5th.